FreeTaxUSA is a great online tax software at a bargain price. While it may not be as fancy as H&R Block or TurboTax, it could be a right fit for your filing needs. In this video, I am covering a complete review and walkthrough of FreeTaxUSA so that you can determine whether or not to file your 2020 taxes with this tax software. Hey guys, it's Justine with The College Investor, investing and personal finance for millennials. Today we are going over FreeTaxUSA, and your first question might be, is FreeTaxUSA really free? And while free is in the name, it's not exactly free. So no matter what your filing situation is, whether you are a side hustler, entrepreneur, you have investments, or you're a simple W-2 income earner, your federal return is free through FreeTaxUSA. The gotcha is when you have to file your state return. If you're going to do that through FreeTaxUSA, it's going to cost you. So what's new with FreeTaxUSA in 2021? Well, not much. The look and feel has not changed much since last year. You will see, however, that tax law changes that have happened in 2020 have now been reflected in the tax software. So you're going to see prompts for things like the stimulus check that will be included in FreeTaxUSA in terms of reporting that or requesting that if you never received one. And then also with changes to how health insurance is reported, you're going to see that reflected in this tax software. Now let's go over FreeTaxUSA's pricing. Now I mentioned that it's not exactly free. Your federal return is free, but if you are wanting to file your state return through this platform, then it's going to be $12.95 per state return. Also, if you want additional perks such as priority support or you need help with amending a return, you can upgrade to the deluxe edition for just $6.99. So $7 plus the $13 for your state return. It's really still a great bargain deal to file your taxes with FreeTaxUSA. All right, so now that we've covered pricing and you know what you're getting yourself into, maybe, then let's go ahead and walk through the software and I'll show you exactly what it looks like.
So if you are ready to file your taxes with FreeTaxUSA, you can go ahead and click the Start 2020 Return to get started. Now, if you're a new user, you'll want to create a new account and go ahead and add in a username and your email address, and you'll go ahead and sign in. So this dashboard is pretty simple. You're going to start with your personal information. You're going to fill out all of that information, and then you're going to see this top hand menu here where it's going to break down your return into several different sections. You're going to start with your personal information, and you can click this drop down arrow and see exactly what you need to fill out. Then you're going to go through your income, deductions and credits, any miscellaneous or other tax filing situations, a quick summary, and then you'll head over to your state return. When you go ahead and put in all of your information for your federal return, they're going to copy over the correct information for your state return. So the state return portion typically only takes just 5 or 10 minutes, simply you reviewing things that are specific to your state, making sure everything is correct. So this is all obviously dummy information, but you'll want to fill this out, go through all of the prompts, click Save and Continue. Check your filing status and any dependents or qualifying children. And if you do, then you may qualify for that child tax credit. And FreeTaxUSA does a good job of summarizing all of the information that you've input so that you can take a look and see if there are any changes that need to be made. You can quickly go back and hit that edit blue button and make those changes. So we already know that if you are wanting to file for free. It's really not for free because the state return is going to cost you about $13. And here's the first prompt we get to upgrade to the deluxe support package, which gets you priority support with live chat, audit assist in case that happens to you, and then if you need to amend your return for an additional $7. It seems like a pretty good value if you are already trying to file your federal for nothing. So you could upgrade to the deluxe for just $7, and then your $13 state return, you're still under $20. Now we're going to go into the first section and we are going to fill out our W-2. Now you can add a W-2 and go through all of these prompts. The thing about FreeTaxUSA though, if you are adding a new W-2, it looks like we have to manually input this information and make sure that you are not messing up any of these additional boxes down at the bottom. And you know, when you get your W-2 that these numbers can vary. So if you get one wrong, you got to make sure that you are diligent in triple checking this stuff. So if we went ahead and filled out everything for Company Z, so this is just fake information for the sake of the tutorial, then you'll go ahead and fill out all those boxes exactly as how they are stated on your W-2. And then you'll go ahead and fill out those boxes for your federal tax information. All right, so once you enter your W-2 information, you're going to see in this upper right-hand corner just a quick recap of what your anticipated federal refund will be. So this is kind of nice to know as you move along through FreeTaxUSA's software that this refund amount is going to change, which is kind of helpful to see up front. Then we're going to see that summary page again, make sure everything was filled out correctly, and click continue. And then if you have any other forms of income, such as a 1099 INT form or a 1099 div form, you're going to want to click on these start buttons. And what I like about FreeTaxUSA is you can see whether or not you've actually visited that portion of your return or if you still need to start it. So let's say you did have an interest form from a bank, you can go ahead and start that. And in here I put TD Ameritrade and that I earned some interest, and let's say it was $400. And then that's going to update nicely in the income summary section. Now, if you have any other sources of income, you'll want to go through and click these drop down menus and go through just very quickly and see if you have any of these forms that you need to fill out. Then you would click start and go through those prompts. All right, here's our 2020 income summary report. Make sure everything looks great. It does. Click continue. And now we're moving on to the deductions and credits section. So they're going to put us into the standard deduction based off of the information that I put in. And this could change depending on your own tax filing situation. So be sure to pay attention to that. If you want to do an itemized deduction, then you can. You're going to have to go through any of these sections that apply to you. All right, so here's my deduction summary. Pretty quick and easy if you're just a W-2 earner and you have some basic forms. And then this is new for tax laws. Because the tax laws changed and the IRS doesn't require people to report their health insurance coverage anymore, then you can just skip this section. However, if you received a Form 1095-A, even though it's not required that you report it, they just need to know if you purchase your health insurance through the marketplace. Now, if you have questions on that, you can hit that question icon, and that's going to draw up a pop-up menu that's going to give you more information about this. Okay, if you made any IRA contributions, you'll want to report that. And let's say you did have student loan interest that you wanted to report. If you received a Form 1098E, then you would click yes and fill out that form. And as I filled that out and said I paid $500 in interest towards student loans, you can see how the federal refund has changed. Also, what's new for 2021 is you're going to see prompts for the stimulus checks that you may have received in 2020. If you did, go ahead and click yes. They even say this is very common. It would be uncommon if you didn't. But if you didn't, you can get that recovery rebate credit through FreeTaxUSA. All right, so going through the common deductions and credits, we're going to see all of these different sections that we just went through. If you need to go back, you can click on this edit button to go back and add any of those forms in if you missed them. Other deductions and credits that you might have could be a health savings account or one of these other types of forms, maybe a mortgage credit certificate. Some of these may not apply to you, but if they do, I highly suggest just going through each one of these just to triple check that you're not missing anything. And look at this. If you're military moving expenses, then you would click start on that. So don't overlook any of these different sections here because you could be missing out on a potential credit. And then we're going to see that summary page again. And what I like about this is there's continuity in FreeTaxUSA's software and it's not overwhelming. All right, so we can continue to miscellaneous and other tax situations that you might incur, such as estimated tax payments or doing an underpayment penalty form. Any of these things, they're typically not common, but if this is you, especially if you do cryptocurrency trading, you're going to want to fill out those sections. Now, FreeTaxUSA has this refund maximizer. My experience in the past is you're just going to go through a series of questions, kind of double checking some things that you may have already filled out. It's a good idea if you have a lot of different deductions or credits, or maybe a lot of tax documents that are sitting on your desk and you want to make sure that you have everything accounted for. It would be a good idea to go through that process. However, if you just have a few simple forms, then you can just save and continue. Then here's the total summary of everything we've entered thus far. And then you're going to see that if you're trying to file this early, or at least get a head start on your taxes, that FreeTaxUSA is just going to hold your information until the IRS accepts e-filers. You're going to see the same thing with your state return, and it looks like I can't even go into that section just yet. So once all of the states are available and ready to go by end of January, then you can go ahead and file that at the same time. Okay, so that was a quick run through of FreeTaxUSA's tax software. Overall, very easy to use. This is a very good bargain software. I didn't have any problems getting through any of the prompts, and compare this with higher priced tax software like H&R Block or TurboTax. I really feel like FreeTaxUSA has great value and I didn't miss out on any of the user experience. So if you're looking for something that's easy to use and at a great price, consider FreeTaxUSA.
In short, FreeTaxUSA is a cheap solution when you are comparing it to its competitors, such as TaxSlayer or TaxAct. The only other tax software that beats it in its category would be Credit Karma Tax. So while you can't import forms like you can with H&R Block, it's still a great price and can fit any filing situation that you might have. Now, we cover a ton of tax software over on our website, so before you make a decision, be sure to check out all of our thorough and complete reviews at thecollegeinvestor.com.